High-grade after-war Gundam Double X.
Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs, 2Bs, GundamReviews.net. The Gundam Double X is finally all put together here. This is high-grade after-war, and it's here thanks to Build Fighters, the new anime, and their all-Gundam project. We've got to see Garrod Rand's jacket in the anime now, so let's see how his second lead and non-title mobile suit, how the parts are gonna work together. The colorful empty plates there with lots of green are going to be leading to the regular armaments to go along with the body parts that should be familiar and some big blades there. And of course, most of the focus is going to be on that even before it unfurls. The legs may underwhelm from the inside, but once you get around to the color that's going to be strapped onto the side there, that's just a lot of fun. Starting with the hips, who would have ever thought that I'd be so excited about this, but the new high-grade Gundam hips are just fantastic here. They rotate around, they're going to be very well offset. Everything about them just works incredibly well. And then when you combine it with a smooth upper bend, and you can see almost 180 degrees down there, and it's going to be looking good in the open or closed position. Then when you take a look at the rest, it's going to be down to the lining or the lack thereof. I could probably put some more ink in there, but just a little bit of gray is going to be the extent of my efforts here, along with this sticker on the nail that Bandai is going to be giving to you. And then what do you get for the moving part? Well, you can see some gray at the top, a nice touch, and you can see this part here. It can move even more than this. It just doesn't feel all that good once you get to the higher positions. And then you can see that this one's going to come up about 45 and this one around 30. Either way, you're going to have a lot on display there before he gets ready to unleash some destructive power. And when you combine that with some very well-moving ankles, even though the feet are going to be just one piece, overall, I'd see these legs are a part of a hit. Onto the waist, where simplicity continues to rule the day there. Look at that front skirt. You've got some lining opportunities on the bottom and the top. If you go in there with gray or black, I think it's going to look just fine. A little stripe down the middle there. But otherwise, one single line there, along with the gray and the red that Bandai is going to be giving you, looks really good, especially when you consider that these beam holders are going to be nicely done up in the dark blue. Side skirts attached on there in the new familiar manner. Here you've got the swivel hips, and you can see that they're going to go up, down, but they are not going to rotate forward and back. Probably could have dropped a little bit more black ink there in the middle. But onto the back skirt, it's going to be fixed. Nothing exciting, but it does have a seal, some lining opportunities. And again, just that one simple edge. And you can see here that the beam sabers are going to be coming out. And they've got an interesting attachment point. But overall, the ease with which you can pull them in and out here is just going to be working fantastic. And compared to the Robot Damashi, where you've got to swap them on and off, this just comes across as being a little bit more true to the Gunpla tradition. And if the legs and waist look simple, well, how about that chest? I'd say anything but, thanks to the small amount of space and a lot of colors that you're going to be getting. The red there with those nice looking cannons underneath, and then you've got some yellow parts there. I decided not to go in there with some black ink. I actually think that the shading, they're very deep, they're very recessed. I think that you're actually going to be getting some good color there without having to do anything, just with the natural light falling on it. And why is that? Well, because if you look at those green parts, they look fantastic. Silver seals underneath is going to be looking good, and no matter what angle you look at them from. But with the red, blue, yellow, and green there, shining silver, I think they look fantastic with zero effort. And when you combine that with a solid backpack attachment and the movable shoulders as they can come forward, this is going to be adding a lot of color to a great looking kit so far. The arms look simple here with the all blue shoulders with that little bit of gray on the inside. They don't look bad from the side as they do give you some raised white details there. But in terms of the gimmick, you can see that there's going to be a green seal on there. As this swings up 90 degrees, it is going to be looking a little bit silly there. But then again, you're going to be seeing some satellite cannons dominate your field of vision when you go for that. You can see that the shoulder will rotate around as you'd expect, and for the bend, 90 over. And then you can get almost a full 180 there, looking fantastic. And the left and the right arm you can see is going to be a little bit different down there with the forearm guard. This one, of course, ready for the shield attachment. But underneath that, the shield may not be as useful as some of these parts. You can see that this is going to swing open quite nicely. And then you've got this one will swing down, and then the next one as well. I'm very impressed with the amount of maneuverability here. For the yellow plates, I think they look great when they come down. Simple gray hands, though, are going to be looking good when you arm them up. With the shield, which on the inside may be a little bit disappointing, you do have some more lining options that I've chosen to ignore. It just seems like one of the least detailed shield interiors. Definitely could have been done better. But this is what I like, just the fact they give you that solid red piece, some little tooth marks looking over there, and then you've just got some edging options down there. But the red on the white is going to be looking good. Seeing a little bit of white there through the eye slit is fantastic. and underneath you can see where it'll attach on and hopefully have some maneuverability. The Buster rifle is also going to look good in terms of the lines and the overall smoothness. I just think that's an excellent cast that they chose there. But you can see the green seal there, but this is going to be a seal and this is going to be a seal. The only plastic color here is going to be the actual muzzle down there in gray. Unfortunate that they chose not to put in a little blue piece there, as they did such a good job with the color on the chest, legs, and shoulders. But overall, it's going to be looking pretty good. But remember that your attention is going to be taken away to the larger weapons, perhaps more often than not. Like these right here, looking fantastic. You can see where the edges are going to be raised there in a couple places for a cool, fiery beam effect. And the hand grips look very solid down there. No lining needed. I think they're going to look good right out of the box. But just the fact that they broke the mold and they give you some very interesting beam sabers is perfectly attuned with what the DX should represent. But finally, it's on to the twin satellite cannons over here. Down at the end, I didn't put any color in there. You can see that it's actually recessed a fair bit. But otherwise, you've just got a couple simple lining options down there if you like triangles. I put some black ink here, and you do have some green seals down there for the scopes. But otherwise, for the more important thing, the maneuverability is going to be very nice there. A 135, let's call it. It's not going to be moving side to side. A couple more lining options, but you can see here that it can actually extend pretty well there. Some interesting looking jagged teeth again, and that's going to stretch out, and the top is still going to be looking good. If you do pull too much, it will pop right back off. But that doesn't actually damage them at all, and you can see that they're going to have a lot of oomph. Especially when combined with the top part of the X pattern here. Is what do you get for the options? Well, first you're going to swing that one down, and I'm a big fan of these seals here. I think they look great with their honeycomb design. Just a nice color there between the gold and a little bit of silver, it seems, on the inside. And you'll notice that the edging here, the lining, is going to be very subtle. They just give you a nice simple effect. And when you see it from the back, I think it's actually going to be looking pretty sharp. You can see that they're not identical in the lining pattern on the top and the middle one, but on the inside there, it's not going to sit perfectly flat. I have gone over these with a Q-tip a couple times. That is the best that they do want to sit on there. So it's not quite. We'll have to decide after whether you like the Robot Damashi version. But then again, for a reasonably priced high grade, this is looking pretty sharp, especially if it could smooth out some of the kinks. And the backpack is going to be simple, effective, and hold everything together well. Boosters at the bottom that don't really want to move unless you want to force them to fall out. You can drop some color in there, and you can see that this is where the shoulder cannons are going to be shining with their rotation, and you can see the way they swing over there. In the down position, they don't bang into each other before you actually try to deploy them, and when you pop in these parts, you've actually got a decent range of motion there. If you got this up and out of the way, you would be able to bring it not much more than that. You could get a 90, but then again, it's never going to come into play. At the same time, in terms of whooshing left to right, it's always nice to have more options than less. But of course, the focus is never going to be on the back. It's always going to be on the front when he brings these over the shoulders to deliver a planetoid's worth of pain. Unfortunately, though, perhaps I don't know if this is the head that's quite going to be delivering it. First of all, this is one of the more noticeable Gundam kits in terms of the child-proofing down there for the points. So if you want, go at it with your nippers and just chop off the ends. And down below, you've also got these parts of the X of the face. You'll want to chop those off because otherwise they go back and they stab them in the cheek. You can see a seal back there. I just went for the simple lining approach across the top to fit the rest of the theme of the kit. But overall, though, the red part there for the goatee is going to be looking good. The eyes are okay. I sort of should have been a little more careful with putting that seal on. But the red jewel, yes, that is a seal. It's not a piece of plastic. We've seen it with so many other kits, and we've seen it done so well. So just when you zoom in here, you're going to see that it's not going to be looking all that sharp, although the overall shape is pleasing to the eye. But when you combine it with some bad lining options, I'm sort of unimpressed with the way that you can line up the sides of the heads, which should be bringing out even more visual oomph. I'd give it an overall grade just of okay when it should be a standout feature. Overall, I've got to say I am impressed with this kit, though not as much as the regular Wing Gundam. The legs look good, and I really like the features as you get to spread out the plates over there. The backpack is going to be looking good, lots of play options. Everything is going to open up in the way it should, and the chest looks great, along with the simple lines in the waist. Just going to be a little bit disappointing there with the beam rifle and the seals, and the inside of the shield not being too spectacular. And of course, some people will be unhappy that there's this many seals, especially if they don't sit all that flat. But for the most part, I'd find that the little triangle details that they're adding around the body are going to be adding to the overall look and not detracting from it. Just unfortunate that the head isn't going to be living up to the same high standards that the Robot Damashi one does back there. Anyway, these are the parts. Fun build, good parts. Let's see it all put together in the next part of the review. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya.
You know, that jacket may actually do in terms of Garrod's as well.